Thank you for joining me today. Today's class is for runners. So if you could please grab your mat, of course, lay that out, have your blocks. You can use books if you don't have any blocks, a bolster or cushion, and a couple blankets or large towels. So if you can just kind of have those handy, those really will help you in this practice. Because in Yin, we try to relax our muscles as much as possible and really get into the connective tissue of the body. So in order to do that, we need to be supported enough that we can relax the muscles and really stretch and strengthen the ligaments, tendons, fascia of the body. So we're going to hold these poses for longer than you would in a normal yoga flow. So anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes for each of these. And it does require that amount of time to really get into the connective tissue of the body. So I'll talk for a little bit at the beginning of each pose, and then the rest of the time will be for you to meditate. So it's a good time to focus on your breath, a mantra, or if you'd prefer just to let your mind wander. Just don't react to any thoughts that come, just let them come and go, and just notice them. So we'll just take another a little bit less than a minute now to get grounded, breathe, focus. This is your time. So breathe in and out. You have nowhere else to be. Okay, the first pose we're going to come into is called Dangling. And this is the only standing pose in Yin. But it's really great for the hamstrings and low back. So you're just going to have your feet hip width apart. And you can either put your hands on a block, whatever height works for you. Or you can put your fingertips on the floor. Or if you like a little more, you can grab opposite elbows. Just make sure your knees are bent for this. And if it gets too much, you can always put your hands back down if you're having your arms holding your opposite elbows. So just remember to try to relax as much as possible. Breathe into this. Soften your body. Just take a little mental scan of your body and try to loosen and relax any tension you might have. And just let yourself sink towards the ground. Okay, very slowly and gently start to push yourself up to standing. Use your hands on your legs to help you up. This is a pretty intense pose. There's never a rush. The next pose we're going to come into is a squat. So go ahead and have your feet a little wider, maybe hip width. If you like, you can sit on a block or two. Or if you have a wall handy, you can lean against the wall and just kind of sit down in your squat, keeping your knees wide and your elbows inside the knee. We'll only be in this one for about 3 minutes. So this one's great for strengthening the ankles and shins, and it'll help open up your low back and your hips. It's a little bit more of an active pose here, but try to relax as much as you can. Okay, slowly push yourself up. Remove any blocks you might have. Just taking your time. Let's just wiggle around, do whatever might feel good to your body right now. We need to be very gentle with our body coming out of these longer holds. The next pose we're going to come into is called Dragon. So this is a great hip flexor stretch. So let's go ahead and bring the left foot forward and the right leg, scooch it back as far as you can and be not directly on top of the kneecap, but a little bit in front of the kneecap. And you can put your hands on the floor, on any height of the block, depending on where you'd like to feel this. If you could come down to your forearms, you can always do that as well, but we will be here for 5 minutes, so it can be pretty intense. And I like to use blocks and be a little more upright, because then I really feel it in my hip flexor more if I'm upright like this and have a slight back bend. You can even put your hands on your thigh if you like, but that requires a little bit more muscle. So we're trying to reduce the amount of muscular energy. So this will be great for your hips and your joints, your hip joints, of course. And this helps with runner's knee, this pose. So go ahead and settle in. Sink your hips towards the ground and breathe. Slowly back out of the pose. Remove your blocks. Come back onto all fours. And do some nice hip circles and cat and cows. And then let's come back into a child's pose for a few breaths. And when you're ready, let's bring the right leg forward, left leg back. So let's bring that left knee back as far as you can. And see how you feel on this side. It may feel different than the other. That's totally normal. So just prop yourself up. Remember to take a body scan and ease any tension you might have. Go ahead and slowly back out of the pose. Remove your blocks. Let's do some more hip circles, cat-cows, child's pose, whatever you feel like you need right now. This pose can be pretty intense, so it's nice to recover a little bit. The next pose is called a toe stretch, and it's really wonderful for the bottom of the feet. So basically you're going to tuck your toes under and then sit back on your heels. If this is too much, you can sit on a block at whatever level works for you. Just be mindful of your body. This is a great stretch to activate the meridians, the energy lines of the body. The 6 major ones of the lower body run through the bottom of your feet. So this awakens and helps to unblock all of those meridians. We don't normally stretch the bottom of the feet, so it might be quite painful for some people. So just try to breathe. If it's a strong sensation, go with it. If it's actual pain, please use one of the modifications with the blocks to help ease yourself into this. It does get easier. We're only going to hold this for 2 minutes. So just remind yourself that nothing lasts forever. Just breathe into sensations. We're almost there. Just keep breathing. All right, go ahead and come forward. Tap out those toes. I'm sure that feels really good. That's a toughie. And from here, we're going to go ahead and bring your feet out wider than your thighs, and we're going to sit in between your calves. So you can, if you're flexible enough, you can sit on the ground. But most of us can sit on a block for a little bit more comfort, because this one will be there for 5 minutes. So don't push it too hard. Just be mindful of your knees always. So this is a wonderful stretch for the knees, shins, ankles, and your quads. So for this one, sometimes we take this pose and we lean back for a back bend, but for this class, we're just going to go ahead and sit upright and really focus on our legs, knees, ankles. Just sit up straight, try to relax those muscles. Okay, slowly push yourself up. Remove a block if you have one. Stretch out those hips. Make any gentle movements that fit your body. We're going to come into a twist. This one is called cat catching its tail. So for this one, we're going to lie on our back. Then we'll roll over to the left side and bring your right leg in front of you. And you can grab your foot, your ankle, your thigh. You may need a strap for this. You can bend your knee if this is too much sensation. And then if that's working for you, go ahead and rotate your chest up to the sky and use your right hand to grab your left foot. And kind of pull back, get a nice quad stretch for the bottom leg. And the top leg, it's a wonderful IT band stretch for the right leg and the outer hip. And this is also a nice twist for the spine. So it might take you a minute to get into this and get properly set up, but this is a really good pose for a lot of different areas. We're starting to get into the more relaxing poses. So go ahead and enjoy this pose and feel your sensations. Okay, go ahead and release both of your feet and slowly make your way back to the mat with your back flat. Kind of rotate those hips around, and then we'll do the same pose on the other side. So we'll be on the right side, and we'll take the left leg out in front of us and grab whatever's comfortable for your foot, your ankle, your calf, and then the bottom foot, your right foot, you'll grab that with your left arm. So make sure you rotate your chest open into the sky as much as possible. And just make sure to do a body scan, release, soften any tension, and relax. Okay, slowly release your top foot and your bottom foot. Roll onto your back. Bring your knees into your chest and roll back and forth a little bit, side to side. We're going to come into a supported bridge now. So you can either use your bolster or your blocks for this. So you can put 2 blocks together, you can use 1 block, you can experiment with the height. Just make sure that you are on your sacrum and not your lower back. I like to use a bolster because it's a little more comfortable, it's more cushiony, but it will be more intense because it's higher up. So you can keep your feet flat on the floor for this, or if you feel comfortable, go ahead and straighten both of your legs out. This is a wonderful low back bend, and a hip release, hip flexor release. Just make sure you don't have any pain on your low back sacrum area. You want to make sure it's low enough so that you're not on your spine. So if you're comfortable, just go ahead and ease and soften into this pose. Okay, slowly bring one foot and then the other to the ground. And take a moment before you lift your hips up, just enough to remove your bolster or blocks. And then we're going to come into our final pose, Shavasana. So if it's comfortable for you, you can bring the bolster under your knees, and that helps settle your hips back into the sockets. You can have a blanket over you if you're a little cold. Whatever pose or position props you need to make this the most comfortable pose. All the hard work is done. Now is your time to let go. There's nothing left to do. So just take a few moments here and just relax your entire body and your mind. Bringing your awareness back to your body. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Bring your knees into your chest, rock side to side. Go ahead and lay on your side for a few moments. When you're ready, come up to a comfortable seated position. Namaste.